Promotional consideration paid for by the following. The Ohio Neck and Back Pain Relief Center, Scott M. Gray, D.C., across from the Marion Center between TSC and Kroger. For further information, dial 740-386-6580. Also located on the net at goodbackbadback.com.
You know what the greatest thing is about the exchange with Scott Spears? Well, not only do they have Scott Spears, but they got all kinds of fabulous guests, too. So tune in. The exchange, Scott Spears, right here. Hello there, Soup here. Say, if you want to be really entertained, just tune into The Exchange, starring my good friend Scott Spears, here on this station.
Hey, Scott Spears along with you on a Monday edition of The Exchange. It is holiday time here in Marion. The set's decorated, and we're back with new episodes, joined by Charlie Evers, Marianne Michaels, and Martha Douse-Manesi. Before we get to anything else, though, I do need to let everybody know we don't have a commercial for them yet, but we do have a new sponsor with, it's a local business, Sports Entertainment Wrestling. Website, www.sewprowrestling.net. Facebook page, SEW Marion. They have an event coming up on December 17th. Tickets are $5 at the door, and it's actually a food drive. Bring two canned food items along with two boxed items, and I believe you can get in free for that. All cash will be donated to the Boys and Girls Club of Marion. All food will be donated to the Victory Center Food Pantry. They have another event coming up on January 7th. Tickets are $5 for that event. And then on February 4th, another great event for $5. Very cheap entertainment. All events take place at the Unkefer Union Hall, 675 Unkefer Avenue here in Marion. You can get your tickets at the Norris Grocery, and the offices are located at 675 Unkefer Avenue here in Marion. For many years, Charlie, wrestling was a big draw at the Marion Coliseum.
Yeah, oh, yes.
So it's great to see a local company coming back. Remember, SEWProWrestling.net, all one word. That's how you get it on the internet. Now, lots to talk about here as we return. Marianne, you've been going for 2 weeks, doing something wonderful. Tell everybody what you were doing.
Oh, I was very much involved in Christmas at the Palace. It was a lot of fun, but, you know, it was an every night thing. And wow, you know, the thing that I like about Christmas at the Palace is it's a community event. Yeah. And everyone takes part in it, and first of all, it's a joyous time of the year, and so it's nice to celebrate it. But to have all of those talented people we have in this community.
Isn't that Claire Cook wonderful?
Oh my, you know, that is a huge job.
Yes,
And she says it herself. She has such good support people. I mean, you know, you just don't put a show on like that without having a lot of people having all kinds of jobs, like, well, the logistics of 350 people being backstage. Think of it, especially with all the young children. And they were so good. They really were. But they, you know, you have people that are telling you to get on stage. You have the set design. You have the costumes. You have just, you know, there's just a lot of people involved. But Claire and her daughter Christy, of course, are the two main people. She wrote and produced the show, and Christy, of course, did the choreography, and she's the assistant director. So we're very fortunate to have those people in our community.
Now, just for people who might want to take part next year. What is that rehearsal schedule like? Because I know a lot of people hear things. What's it like?
Well, you know, the rehearsal really wasn't bad because Claire has it so organized that you don't go when the first several weeks of practice, you don't go all the time. The only time you go every night is the week of the show. Like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are really important days for everybody to be there. And then Thursday is dress rehearsal, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are the performances. But before that, you are scheduled. You know, you don't have to be at every rehearsal. You are only there when you are on stage, and she gives you a schedule, and you know what time you're supposed to be there, and you know how long it's going to be. It's very well organized, very well.
Did you have a favorite part of the show?
Well, I just really had a small role in it, but it was fun. I was supposed to be a...
The grandmother.
Yeah, well, I was definitely
No,
a grandmother.
no, you were the grandmother, yeah.
Right, and you know, kind of a society madam, and
Boy,
you know,
did she have a pretty dress on.
You know,
I
That's
loved
true.
it.
you know, Martha, that dress is 18 years old, and
What?
it's the only second time I've ever worn it because I wore it to my son's wedding 18 years ago.
Honey, it was
And
gorgeous.
it still fit me. So I was very, yeah, and it is pretty, but you know, I'm kind of tired of it now after wearing it for one full week. But, and then I was, you know, I had two granddaughters who were lovely granddaughters, Olivia and Sadie, but they were only interested in iPods and iPads and iPhones. And of course, being a grandmother in this day and age, you don't know a lot about that stuff. So it was all about getting families to start thinking about Christmas in the right way, and instead of, you know, worrying about iPads, iPods, and iPhones and computers.
Well, you know, I went and saw the show on the Friday performance, and the Let There Be Peace number was so good.
You know, I had tears in my eyes.
Yeah.
I really did. That was so wonderful, and we usually, I think we had standing ovations
Oh,
for
when
that
I was
number.
there.
And it was, but there were a lot of good numbers in it. But that really tugged your heart.
Well, the group 9, the first number they did tore the house down, and is it John Garnes and
Yes, and Nathan Howard.
yes.
Their voices are wonderful, and then the tap line's always.
To see
that's
Bob
always
Bender
fun.
and Dr. Barney up there tapping, it was just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Good.
Dr. Talbot was in there.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
he was.
Ted, my husband, was in that, but quite a few years ago.
Years ago.
I think in the very first one that they had, yes.
Oh,
They
I
tried
didn't know
to
that.
recruit him this year, but he said no.
Now, Marianne, you went there the last week leading up to the show. You were there every night to see everything. Did you see any? What got fixed? What was maybe a mishap that was fixable? I mean, was the tap line?
Well,
Okay, go
Oh,
ahead.
yeah, everybody, you know, when you're just learning the, you know, the outline of it and, you know, the ins and the outs, because with that many people, you can't have any pauses. So everybody's got to be on that stage, and everyone has to be going on stage when they're supposed to go
You
on
gotta
stage.
move.
You have to move, right, because you want it to be a moving thing. And but no, there weren't any real problems I could see, except just learning your lines, because there were a lot of songs, and we had to learn the lines. We had to learn the lyrics, and
Did you see Marilyn choreograph?
oh
her
yes,
number? Wasn't that cute?
that was darling. It really was.
Now, Martha, aside from your group, because I know that would be your favorite, what did you like? I know you went Saturday night to Christmas at the
I
Palace.
got out of the hospital at 1:30, and they let me out to go see Christmas at the Palace. And the first person I saw on stage was Marianne Solarzik.
She did a great job, didn't she?
She
You
did
really
good.
did. You really did, Marianne.
thank you.
I thought it was.
I loved it.
It was wonderful. Charlie, did you go this year?
No, I didn't get a chance to go.
What were you?
Oh,
What were you
that's
doing all
bad.
weekend, Charlie?
I was just fiddling around.
You've been in years past.
I've been to a lot of them.
Yeah,
Been
yeah,
in
they're always
several.
fun.
They're I think they're every 2 years. There'll be another one in 2 years.
Is it 2 years? It's a fun event, and you really should go. And like I said, Marianne, you were great.
And you know you know what's great these young people are learning about the stage at an early age, and that's the reason. I mean, they did very well. I mean, learning those lines and acting, because they're taught at an early age, and then they grow and they end up being in the shows a lot at the high schools. All the high schools have wonderful musicals, and it's training. It really is. It's very good for them.
And unfortunately, a lot of public schools right now are losing the art, so it's great in Marion. We have a group like this who can do this. I know there's a winter musical,
Yes.
there's a summer musical, so
Yeah.
there are things and ways to get involved
Yes.
without having to do
Yeah.
certain things.
Well, I was in children's theater at a very young age in Wheeling, West Virginia, where I lived, and I was in a lot of plays.
Would you do it again?
Oh, yes. Who knows what's going to happen in 2 years? I don't know.
What would you do now that well, how long had it been since you were on the stage?
I used to be in the Follies every year. I don't know if you
I
probably don't
I
remember
remember the Follies.
And you were too, yeah. I mean, every year. Oh,
Show and a half.
oh my, yes. The Junior Service Guild, I was in that for years.
How long had it been since you were on stage like this?
Oh, quite a few years.
Now that the bug's back in you, would you do a musical? Would you do a summer, winter musical?
Well, but there's not much call for people my age.
Oh, that's not true. That's not true. Depends on what they're doing.
Yeah, that's true.
You could play younger.
Yeah. Oh, no, I couldn't.
Yes, you could, Marianne. You could play younger. I think it'd be fine. Charlie, we're going to get into the episode now, but Christmas at the Palace, Claire, our hats are all off to you and everybody who was in that show. Words are no, that's Marianne's
Words of wisdom.
Yeah, you got,
Yeah.
do you have any words of wisdom?
This is
Fascinating facts.
I've got a story about something quite showy out at the Big Island Wildlife Area. It's the appearance of a great snowy owl. Now, this is an owl that's all white, and it's been many years since we had a snowy owl. In fact, he flew around downtown Marion for a couple of weeks. But this one is out, you can observe it if you got sharp eyes, from the observation deck on Route 95. The snowy owl. I saw one when I was in Juneau, Alaska. He was just sitting on a fence post, and not rare at all up there, of course, but down here, that's a rarity. It really is.
The observation deck on Route 95.
Yes.
Now, where's that at?
It's on Route 95.
I understand.
West of Marion, between Marion and New Bloomington. You can't miss it.
Oh, there you go. That's great. Hey, that's a neat thing for people. Once in a lifetime, I guess. Or maybe twice if you're lucky.
The Christmas bird count will be this year, January 1st.
Hey,
a lot of Marionites go out and count all the different species of birds.
Oh, that's neat.
That is neat.
Yeah.
Fun thing.
I got something to say.
Go ahead, Martha. Well,
How do you spell Merry Christmas, Charlie Evers?
How do I spell Merry Christmas? Well, like everyone else, isn't it M-E-R-R-Y?
M-A-R-Y.
Oh, really?
Without her, we wouldn't have the baby Jesus.
Well, that's right.
Will you pass that on?
Sure. If I don't pass on first.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
I've learned that from Sister Mary Carol
Oh.
in 71.
Wow.
And she told me, Martha Lou, I want you to write Merry, M-A-R-Y, Christmas on all your Christmas cards, and I've done it since 71.
Do you know what I put on my Christmas cards?
What?
I want some figgy pudding.
well, no, do people still send Christmas cards? Because I go through this every year. I say,
Fewer,
do people still send them?
Fewer every
Yes,
year.
fewer every year. And what I usually try to do, and I haven't even started mine yet, but if I'm going to see the person, I don't send a card. If it's a
Right,
person I
do
see
too,
all the
Mary
time,
Ann.
but if it's somebody out of town that I haven't seen, then yes, I will send a card. Because I don't get to see them.
Well, but I don't like this email Christmas card.
Oh, I don't
No,
either.
no. And they
No,
talk about that
no,
this year.
I don't like it either.
Words of wisdom today.
Well, of course, love is essential to all of us. And during this particular period of time, it's especially special. So, this is from Francis Farmer about love. To have a good friend is the purest of all gifts because it is a love that has no exchange of payment.
Hey, there you go. I like that one.
And it fits in with Christmas gifting.
It does. And Marianne, I was just looking at you on the screen here. We've done the fashion segments here before, but this is a beautiful holiday-looking top you have on. Where do
Well,
you get something like this?
Well, it's, it's sparkly, but you don't see it in the in the camera. It's very
No, but
sparkly.
it's sparkly, yes.
Everybody,
nice.
well, everybody sells sparkly things at Christmas time.
Is there a place maybe that you know, people are hit tough this year, they're spending Christmas money and they don't have a lot of money for clothes? Is there a good outlet to go to that you can get nice things that look nice, look dressy, maybe at a reduced cost?
Yes.
Elder Beerman's a good place.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, and Kohl's and all the other department
Yeah,
stores around are
Kohl's
fine,
is
but
good.
you know, the Salvation Army.
Yes.
They have some nice things that people donate, and so does St. Vincent de Paul. Their clothing. There are some because I work there every once in a while as a volunteer, and there are some beautiful clothes there, and you know, they are very reasonable. So anybody who, you know, would like to have a holiday fair and can't afford the expensive, because a lot of things are expensive, those are two good places I think to go.
And I think Goodwill. You can find
Goodwill,
some things
yes,
in there, yes.
Goodwill.
Charlie, where do you buy your sparkly turtlenecks? this
Glenn's
time of year?
Surplus over in Shelby.
Well, I mean, those are the places where you go. Well, speaking
You
of...
know what I miss?
What do you miss?
I miss depot sales.
I do.
That was
Yes.
my
Oh,
favorite
Yes,
place.
Yes.
What happened to the big pants? We had this discussion before. Remember the big
Yeah.
pants on the wall?
That was on Facebook. What is it? Growing Up in Marion or whatever. Somebody said they had it.
Oh, they have the
Yeah.
pants?
Oh yes.
Oh, do they still live in this town?
Quite a bit of them.
No, do the pants still here, Charlie? I want to see those pants one more time. How big do you think those pants were?
I don't know.
They were big.
Yeah, 60, 70
Oh,
inches around the waist.
70 at least.
Mhm.
60, you can buy that at Walmart now, I think. That's out of people. People get bigger as time goes on.
That's
People
what they
grow.
say, yeah. I've seen a couple in my time.
There you go. Well, on the Christmas note here, we haven't been together since Black Friday, as all the retailers call
No,
it.
I'd call it Red Friday.
Why would you call it Red?
Well, the merchants go into the black, but we go into the red.
That's true. And,
Yeah.
and
There's more of us than there are merchants.
And apparently a lot of people went into the red this year
Oh, yes.
because we saw a major increase
And
in sales.
It was kind of nice for the,
we did.
yeah, it was nice for the economy, really.
Now, do you attribute any of that to people? A lot of stores change their hours. Of course, the biggest retailer in America is Walmart. All of a sudden, they were opened at midnight on Thanksgiving night, and even at 10 for some sales. Maybe that attributed because it didn't used to start till 6 a.m.,
Yes.
4 a.m.
Yeah.
I think it's people's attitude. I think they're tired of hearing how bad off we are.
Yes, and they're trying to be positive,
Oh,
and I
yes.
think that's great.
I mean,
So, are we not as bad off?
no.
You don't think?
No, especially in Marion.
I think
Well,
the
every
economy
day, though,
is
you
getting
see-
better. I really do.
Yeah, you see where all these people are needy people, and that we're giving toys and food and everything else to. But yet Marion has more people employed than most towns our size.
I think so, but you know, it's interesting, and I'm certainly not a downer on Marion, but Delaware and Upper Sandusky border us, and both of them are doing much
Super.
better.
Yeah, oh,
They're
yeah.
much better than Marion. What do you attribute that to? One to our south, one to our
That's
north.
a good question. I've often wondered that. Upper Sandusky, of course, are on main routes too, Route 23 and Route 30, and they have a lot of industry that has grown up over the years. And I asked at one time too, one of their upstarts in Upper Sandusky, how they do this. He said, "We have our ways." I
Well,
mean,
they
they're
must.
positive.
Well, they're
very positive.
They're more to the north than we are. They're further away from Columbus.
Mm-hmm.
We should really have the jump on them in some ways in Marion, and we don't. I kind of understand Delaware's prosperity because they are just a hop, skip, and a jump from Polaris.
But you know, a lot of people buy things online, and in a way, you know, that's okay for these big companies, but it's not okay for the small business people. And I really think people should, you know, go to their communities to buy. I mean, but you know, that's me. But because a lot of, I think, small shops are having a rough time because of people just buying online.
Well, you know, I'm not chastising anybody in Marion specifically, but I've thought one of our main problems has always been, and I've always used this analogy, that the person who's in charge of erasers won't talk to the person who's in charge of pencils in this town. It seems like the people who are in charge of, you know, the sales taxes, the people who are in charge of sales, the people who are in charge of stores that would be a natural a wave to go from certain places, they don't talk to each other, and people are more interested in being an island of them to themselves.
Well, and I think that's rampant in our society because of the technology. People don't talk anymore. They text, they email, and I think that is. I know it's my age, you know, but to me it's so impersonal. It just doesn't mean as much as seeing somebody person to person and talking.
No, you should be with somebody at the holidays.
So when you look in your rearview mirror and there's someone behind you on their phone and they're expressing their hand, they're waving their hands, the person they're talking to can't see them, of course, but there's nobody in the steering wheel. They're holding the phone up here and waving their hand. And I thought, oh, no, here goes everything.
You could have been rear-ended.
Oh, yes, and that happens every day.
Well, are we ever going to, I mean, we can't go backwards in time, but is there going to be a time where maybe a regulation is going to be put on? I was thinking the other day, I went out to the Marion Mall, the Marion Center, as they call it. And, I mean, you can go out there and see it. It's not like we're telling stories out of school here. There are a lot of empty storefronts, probably more than stores. Yes. And I'm sitting there, and I was looking at the old movie theater, and I was thinking of things that internet has put an end to. Movie theaters, music stores, bookstores, newspapers being in your hand. Internet has really, in the last 10 years, made those things almost obsolete in society.
Well, now the post office is getting into real financial problems, and somebody is saying maybe there's going to be an end to that. Well, that's horrible. Yes, and you know, there's nothing like getting mail.
All they've got to do is raise their rates, cut out Saturday deliveries, and.
But when they say they're not going to deliver on Saturday, people get mad.
Oh yeah.
People get furious.
But it's not their
Especially
fault.
those who wait to the last minute to pay their bills, and they'll be overdue by Monday.
Well, that's, you know, part of the thing is can the these are fundamental things. Movie theaters, bookstores, music, newspapers, magazines, libraries.
Oh, yes.
These are fundamental parts of our society for years, 500 years, some more than that. What have we done? The internet's come in, it's only been here strong for about 10 years, and we've ended this.
Well, we don't drive horses and buggies anymore either.
Yeah, but
true.
But what I'm saying is,
I mean, we can't.
Time marches on.
It does. It does. But when televisions came out as a recreation, bookstores and movie theaters did not close up. They still were able to be an alternative. Internet is too easy. Internet is too easy.
I don't know. There's a lot of older people who say, I wouldn't have internet if they gave it to me.
But all the older people are going to go. Then what do we do when those people are in their 40s?
I say that the people that are saying I wouldn't have internet are the same ones that said I wouldn't have a microwave if they gave me one. And they've all got microwaves.
We all
it
adjust
takes a while.
Eventually. We do adjust. But I just think it's sad as far as communication is concerned. And you know, the children, they don't learn how to spell anymore because they don't need to spell to tweet. Everything is abbreviated. And, you know, they're not learning to cursive write even.
Well, that's right. That's going to be a thing of the past, cursive writing.
Oh, it is already. You don't teach it. It's not being taught anymore.
Well, the kids can't cursive write plain enough that you can read it anyhow.
No.
So.
Well, how can you do a signature if you can't cursive write?
You can always print it.
You print it, and I think it's legal. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you
because
something.
an X is legal, isn't it?
I don't know. It could be, but you know, what I think is, and I know everybody at this table remembers it. But when I was in high school, something you had to do when you were a freshman was you had to do the big book report. And it didn't have so much to do with the book, but you had to get an index card, and you had to cite the page and cite the quote and learn how to cite the article. That's over.
Oh, yeah.
That's over. But
Thank
you know,
goodness.
But here was the thing about
I never liked that.
Well, that's right, Charlie, because what did that prepare anybody for in life?
Well,
learn how to cite an article.
So what did algebra prepare anyone for?
Well, you were a teacher, Marion, full-blown. Why did I have to write on those note cards? What did that ever prove?
I don't know. I don't know about that.
I
don't think I
understood
required that.
Martha, where do you do your shopping this time of year?
Everywhere.
Do you ever...
I go to Kohl's Elder Bierman.
Go down to Euler's and Frank's,
Jewelry
Sutton and
store.
Leitner, the Gaiety Shop,
I used to
Children's
go to-
Palace.
I used to go to Sutton and Leitner's all the time. I was their best customer.
And I was the second best, I think.
I think a lot of people love that store.
Now,
Sutton
you
and
see, we
Leitner-
don't have that.
What did they
No.
sponsor on WMRN? They
Yeah,
sponsored a
oh,
program.
Oh, yeah.
Sutton and
They
Leitner.
did.
Martha, the one thing I wanted to say was I think you're the only person here who does not email. Does that affect your life that you don't have email?
Oh, I am so stupid. when
No,
it comes-
no, Martha, no.
I can't do that. Marilyn is wonderful at her computer.
But do you ever get up in the middle of the night and say, geez, I would like to send an email?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Somebody needs to get Martha a computer for Christmas. We could solve this
Somebody
whole problem.
needs to get her a
Oh, my
sleeping
gosh,
pill.
I can't do it.
No, Martha, you could learn.
Yes, you
You
can.
could learn. You write very well. I've gotten a Christmas card's more difficult than internet once you get right down to it, I think.
Oh, I like to write Christmas cards.
See that?
I love it.
There you go. Well, let's go into the mailbag. We didn't get to the Black Friday story, but I'm going to save. Are we out of time? Oh, never mind then. We won't go into the mailbag. But I do want to let you know if you want to send us a question in the mailbag, it's scottspears3@gmail.com. No spaces, the number 3. scottspears3@gmail.com. Also get on Facebook, The Exchange Marion. We've got quite a few fans on there, and you can also see past episodes of this program in their entirety on there. Tomorrow we'll get into the Black Friday story that I wanted to get into. Back with you on Tuesday.